So since the last time we met, all I've been able to do is just clean this one little spot. Okay, so the death in my family that occurred was my mom. We didn't necessarily see eye to eye. We fought a lot. I wasn't necessarily the perfect blonde extrovert cheerleader that she's always wanted. In the meantime, I'm preparing for her memorial. She's already been cremated. I'm going to make a sign for her memorial with her name on it, and I've decided to wood burn it. I'm not as a skilled pyrographer as other people, so I will be sticking to my strengths, which is using scorch marker, and then I will be using scorch paste to put on certain designs. I will then use a heat gun, and then I will go in with my burning tool to clean up some of the edges. And then I will seal it with wood stain. So as of right now, it's blank. What I'll be doing is, and again, not sponsored, not sponsored. I will be using this book, Creative Burning by B. Locke, to help me in my wood burning. And I will be using the big book of amazing creative lettering. Uh, and that's what I'll be using to do all of the calligraphy that I'm planning on doing on my thing. And let's see who. And this is the back of it. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go to the one page because it has a lot in here. But I'm gonna go to the, again, not sponsored. I'm gonna go to the page that I use to map out what I plan on doing for my mom. Okay. So this is the writing I decided to do with my mom. This type of calligraphy style script, and there's her name, and in the memory of. This is one of the reasons, like in my book, um, names don't really have a purpose, or sometimes have all the purpose, or why they can be absurd or not be valid, or in my books when I write them. Because I feel like people can choose their names, people can grow into their names or change their names. My mom changed her name, and this is the name she chose to give to herself. So that's why I feel it would be good for the memorial, because she really loved the changing of her name. And like, for example, in my book, I have a lady that's called Miss Morbide, and she's part of the orphanage. And you think with Morbide that she's very morbid or whatever, but she's like the sweetest lady. There's even this guy who's called Bill, and you think it's short for William, and he's like, no, my name is Billiam. So it's stuff like that that I have in my book. I was playing around with some of the designs on the side, and in the memory of, and maybe some like cat symbol, but we'll see where I go from there. Okay, some things. I decided to not use the scorch paint, scorch paste, for my stencils here, because I haven't tried it yet, and I didn't want to try something new on something I'm trying to do. As you could see, I had some bleed through up here on the top. I'm going to try and fix that and later on. I also realized that I did this whole board and I did not sand the first layer, because you're supposed to sand it and get it a little bit more smooth with like a really fine grit paper, and so that it's smoother when you use any sort of burning tool on it, which I did not do. I'm very happy with how it's turning out. I'm going to now go down into my garage and go further from there. Okay, so now I'm down in my basement. This was the scorch paste I was talking about, and it was one of the main reasons why I was using metal uh, transfers, because of the fact that you can wash them off, and they're supposed, and that it's, I can't remember the safety reasons, but that's one of the reasons why I used those. This is going to be the wood burning kit that I will be using. Again, not sponsored, not sponsored. And that'll be the one. I only use one tool right now because, again, I'm still learning. I'm going to use my scorch marker gun, my heat gun, to heat up the wood that's on, to heat up the lettering so it'll burn into the wood. I will be using personal protection. I'll be using a mask, and I'll be using gloves because I don't want to get burnt. So there we go. So we'll go from there. Okay, final thoughts. I'm really happy with how this turned out. A lot of people who deal with pyrography would probably be screaming and hitting their heads on some of the stuff that I did. Very un very not good. I do feel happy that I was able to fix the top part in here by sanding it down, and then redoing it, which was very nice. Which is one of the things that you can do every so often with dealing with wood. I only used one nib. It's the only one that I feel comfortable with. Like I said, I'm still a very big novice on everything that's done here. So I was really excited that I was able to get some of the shadowing that I did with the letters when I was doing the burn tool. But again, there are, I'm pretty sure there's different kinds of nibs and other things that'll give you better shadowing and so forth. It's just the one I felt comfortable. I know when you get these like sort of jagged marks, it has to do with the grain not sanding enough, putting too much pressure down. That is my biggest problem when it has always been my biggest problem with doing art, is the amount of pressure that I put down on things. It's why whenever I'm doing anything on paper or using a pencil, I usually always use a mechanical pencil. Main reason is if you push down too hard, it breaks. So it lets me have more of like a less of a heavy hand. So so for this, I'm still trying to not like gouge so much into the wood when I'm doing stuff. I need a lighter hand, and then maybe I'd be able to experiment a little bit different. I know that it's a mess with the sanding and other things that I did, but I think to the average person, it looks pretty decent. Like I said, it's pretty novice. I wanted to get a frame for it, but I couldn't find one that was on the cheap. I do have uh, molding left over from the previous person who lived in this house. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut it out and then attach it to the outside and maybe paint it a black color, just to give it, it just needs a little something else. Also something to the back of it, so that I can hang it on. It could be hung on a wall because I want to give this to my dad as a gift in memory of my mother. So hopefully this isn't too much of a sob story, but this is in memory of her, and hope she's smiling and liking what she sees. See you on the next reel that I do. All right, bye. It's my curtains for you, baby.